Kalibar. Kalibar is a city in East Azarbaijan Province near to the Azarbaijan forests. The city is rural and is considered to be the countryside region of the Kalibar nomads. Kalibar was named both Baz and Bazin in the past. For many years, Iranian fighter Babak fought the ruler of that time, Al-Mu'tasim Abbasi, in Kalibar. The city was a town till the 1970s. The distance between Kalibar and Tabriz is 193 kilometers, and it is 770 kilometers from Tehran. The two countries of Azerbaijan and Armenia are north of Kalibar. Kalibar is a mountainous and cold place that has developed into the countryside of Azarbaijan and Mugan Plain. Nomads live in its abundant jungles and pastures. Summers are temperate, though winters are snowy in Kalibar. People here speak Turkish. Kalibar Mountains is a part of the geographical location of this region. Many mountain climbers travel here with the purpose of climbing the Kashsar, Kazibula, Chior, Sarpak and Zinkalu peaks. Azarbaijan forests and Babak or Baz Castle are only 5 kilometers from the center of the city, and the castle is the most famous place in Kalibar. Babak Fort, also known as Babak Castle. Near the city of Kalibar, there is one of the most important sites of East Azarbaijan Province in all aspects, including ancient, cultural and natural. This is Babak Castle, now known as Babak Castle. Babak Castle is a strong, huge fortress that was built on the top of a mountain and is reminiscent of the struggles of the Azeri heroes of Iran. Babak was the main leader of the Iranian fighters who revolted against the Abbasid Caliphate after the death of Abu Muslim. During the Abbasid Caliphate, Azerbaijan was the center of a long and dangerous revolt against the Caliphate led by Babak, which affected northwestern Iran and lasted for more than 20 years. The castle is built at an altitude between 2,300 and 2,600 meters, is surrounded by 400 to 600 meter gorges, and it is related to the Sassanid period. This fort is in a position that was difficult to enter, being necessary to protect it from enemy attacks. Access to the castle can be found using a long series of broken steps that lead to the top of a hill. After that, the easiest route is a long dirt track, at the end of which the route turns left. The first sign of the ruins appears on the left, leaving 2 peaks to cross. The first peak has views of the castle. After ascending a second peak with additional ruins, the trail passes sheer cliffs on the right with no railings. The surrounding Azarbaijan oak forest, jagged cliffs and mountains in the distance can be seen from the castle. The last stretch to the main castle is a narrow passageway and a 200-meter corridor-shaped temple. The castle is nearly impossible to capture due to it being high in the mountains and protected by ice and snow. One interesting issue about the materials used in the building of the cistern is the use of mortar to prevent rain and snow water penetration. Therefore, in rainy and snowy seasons, the tank becomes full of water that they use in summer. Babak Castle has been damaged over time, but its splendour can still be enjoyed. Azarbaijan Forest. Azarbaijan, formerly known as Qaradar or Qarajay, is a vast mountainous region in the north of East Azarbaijan Province, extending from the north of Kushadar Mountain in the south of Ahar to the Aras River. Azarbaijan borders Meshingashar and Mugan in the east, Sarab in the south, and Tabriz and Marand in the west. The name Qaradar is said to have been coined due to the multiplicity of mountains in the region, with the explanation that Qara in the Turkish language signifies multitude, multiplicity, and entanglement. In 1976, UNESCO registered 72,460 hectares of land in the region as a biosphere reserve. The general description of UNESCO is that this biosphere reserve is located in the Caucasus Mountains of Iran, near the border with Azerbaijan and Armenia. Located between the Caspian, Caucasian and Mediterranean regions, the reserve includes mountains up to 2,200 meters, alpine meadows, semi-arid plains, pastures and forests, rivers and springs. Pashtu Castle. Pashtu Castle, which is 179 kilometers from Tabriz city, is one of the most important and valuable historical monuments of Ahar. Located on a high mountain of 3,000 meters in altitude, with high rocky ramparts, the only access to this castle is by 220 stony steps. One of the most valuable and interesting monuments of the Ahar town is Horand Castle, or Poshtab, which has been on the highest mountain between the Poshtab and Kovjan villages. Poshtab village is located between 12 kilometers and 50 kilometers from Ahar in West Horand. Pashto Castle is built in the mountains and its height is over 1,600 meters. Its fences are very high and rocky and surrounded by deep cliffs. In the construction of castle walls, rubble stone, clay mortar, and some bricks have been used. Works obtained from the inside of the castle include ancient pottery of undefined use, and historical journalists indicate the castle was built during the early dominance of Islam to Azarbaijan and Gerdag. These castles, like Babak Castle, perhaps simultaneously battled with Arab rulers of the region. There is evidence that it had been used for military purposes. Tomanian's Mansion. The Tomanian's Mansion in Vinag village is a building related to the Qajar period on the top of a rocky hill and made by Sarkis Tomanians. For this reason, its structure has not obeyed the archetype of either Iranian or Islamic architecture and is more like European and Russian buildings of the 19th century. Sarkis Tomanians had owned about 100 villages around the Menjuvan and Kavan of the Khoda Afaran rural district, with the help of the Russian Empire, and had been considered a famous landlord in the region. The mansion is a kiosk on 2 floors with 6 towers and a porch. The heating system of this building is unique in that the pottery pipes are set through the walls. As soon as the hot water has circulated, the whole building would be heated up. Avarsin Castle. Khoda Afarin is located in the northeast of East Azarbaijan Province, between the Garud Dar Forest Mountains and the Caucasus Mountains. More than 86% of Khoda Afarin County lands consists of forests and pastures. Having mild summers, cold winters, and a variety of historical and natural attractions, this county is one of the most famous spots in the province. Avarsin Castle is in this section. The castle is also known as Kievan Castle. It dates back to Arsacid and Sassanid eras. The castle lies near Avarsin village, where it gets its name. Avarsin Castle has great importance due to its remained architectural elements such as towers, walls and reservoirs. It used to serve as a defensive function in the past, but it is currently deserted. Avarsin is a historical village with a history of 1400 years, and in the recent past it was considered one of the most influential villages in the region. The climate of the village is summery, and it has cool summers and cold winters. The village also has a village on the upper reaches of the Kalibar River, where the villagers migrated during the cold seasons. Avarsin also has 2 large aqueducts and mineral springs. The historical castle of Avarsin, dating back to the Sassanid era, is located near and south of this village. Thank you for joining us today. We will be with you in our next program, introducing you to other places in Iran.